Hey Zero, what are your holiday plans? Doing anything cool?
Well, we're gonna have our freaking Christmas lasagna. My dad made the best meatballs in his life. They're so good that he wrote it down in his recipe book, so I'm looking forward to that.
Hmm.
Big old Italian meal.
Yeah, I
We have
forgot you do
two,
that shit.
yeah, yeah. We have two trees in my house. I mean, they're both fake, but we got two, and so we have presents under both of them, which I find amazing.
Is there any reason, or is just we felt
Um,
like two trees?
because we have a tree in the family room, but then in the formal dining room, my mom wanted another tree. Because we already had one like fake tree. My parents bought a new, bigger, fancier fake tree, so we had two fake trees. So we set up the one fake tree in the room where we'll be eating our like Christmas Day dinner and everything, and then we put the other in the living room where we will do presents and everything.
Hmm.
So two trees.
Hmm.
What about you? Anything special for Christmas?
Going to see my parents like I usually do.
Mm.
Yeah, Christmas dinner kind of thing. Yeah, I get the turkey that I was denied last month.
The turkey that I was denied.
Meh. I like turkey. Turkey is really good. Stuffing is really good. Pigs and blankets, roast potatoes, and Yorkshire puddings, and
And all that.
um, gravy. Yum. What day is it today? It's like the 21st. Yeah, it's the longest night before Turkey. I mean Christmas. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's only a few days left. I still have to do Christmas shopping.
I've done all mine. I've delivered the presents to the person that distributes the presents, which is my mum, because she can drive. Uh, um, yeah. So all of that is sorted for me. It wasn't entirely left to the last minute this year, which is nice. Yay.
Yay.
I'm not a complete fuck up that is desperately praying that the presents get delivered to me so that I can wrap and tag and pass them on. Yeah, I'm I'm not good at getting things done in reasonable amount of time with enough spare to actually do the other things that need to be done with them. You know, like for example, my taxes that are going to be overdue in about 40 days.
You have to
About
you have to pay Scrooge right before Christmas.
well, I don't pay them. I don't earn enough to pay them, but I have to fill them in to let them know how much I'm making, so that they know that I don't have to pay them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. Um,
Hello, I would like to inform you that I don't have money.
hmm. Yeah, that's about the size of it, really. Um, so, yeah, I had about 7.5 months so far to get them done, and I'm doing them today. So that's how that goes every year. I think the earliest I ever got it done was October. That was a proud year.
The proud year of October.
Yep, year of getting my taxes.
I know. I'm
Mm,
just saying nonsense.
mm.
Uh, hey, you know what came out recently?
What's that?
The new Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah, that came out. Apparently, it's very good. Mostly.
Um, I enjoyed it a lot. Because I went and saw it on like last weekend, and we saw it in the new movie theater that opened up in the mall. So it was nice. They had nice leather seats that reclined. Um, I will say that this movie does a lot to. It does a lot of repairs, I guess,
Hmm.
because over the years, we've had a lot of Spider-Man movies.
Hmm.
We had the Andrew Garfield movies. We had the Sam Raimi movies with, Tobey Maguire,
It's
and
it's it's a real harsh indictment that you know them as the Sam Raimi movies and the Andrew Garfield movies. You're supposed to know the films by their directors, not their actors.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you do
yeah,
for the Sam Raimi movies. You
yeah,
don't for
because
the
it's Sam
Andrew
Raimi.
Garfield movies.
Uh huh.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh, but not inaccurate.
Um, and yeah, apparently they are doing another trilogy of Spider-Man movies when he's in college,
Hmm.
and they have set it up pretty perfectly for that in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
Tom Holland, he's been doing this for like 6, 7 years. He still looks like a fucking teenager, so it's fine.
they have
Ultimate babyface.
yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
They did a lot to kind of repair the damage that rebooting so many times has done. And I especially because you know from the trailers that the villains from past movies are coming back.
Yeah.
They are hilarious. They are great to be around. Like Doc Ock. Oh, I love Doc Ock in this movie.
It's still a Willem Dafoe, right? Please tell me.
It's still Willem Dafoe.
Oh,
They
thank
got
God.
all the original actors.
Awesome.
Um, only two things are a little bit messed up, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of understand why they did this. But because they have Sandman and the Lizard,
Mm.
for when they are human, like because they do show footage of that, they reuse footage because they can't because they're not going to de-age them or anything.
Yeah.
They use footage from the original movies, but they de-aged Doc Ock.
Yeah, of course they did.
Uh,
He's gotten on in years in the intervening time.
but
Does not
he's
have the
also
ultimate babyface powers that Tom Holland has. So,
he's also more central to the plot
true.
because
'Cause, yeah.
he shows up and he's like, "Oh, Peter, where was my machine? What's happening?" It's like, "Wait, you're not Peter. Who are you?" Um, the trailers do a good job of. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into any spoilers or anything, but the trailers do a good job of not spoiling the movie. In fact, I would call the trailers an anti-spoiler,
Oh, cool.
which I was very excited about. Willem Dafoe is great.
Oh, of course he is. He's Willem
he,
Dafoe.
he's having so much fun. You can
he
tell.
he loved playing that character in the first film. Like, he took it super seriously to the point where he gave like fight choreography ideas. Like, they wanted Green Goblin to be like this acrobatic spin kicky dude, same as Spider-Man, but he was like, no, this dude's a fucking billionaire. He doesn't have like superstar fight training. He's just a fucking meat and potatoes boxer kind of dude. Like, he's just gonna fucking punch you in the face and be done with it. Like, it's kind of awesome that he took it that seriously. That he's like, no, this is my character's background. I think I want to take this into consideration when you consider how he's going to fight in these scenes. Yes, thank you.
It's like you can really sense the dedication, especially like I remember I read that uh what was the full name, Molina, the guy who does Doc Ock.
Alfred Molina, yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, Alfred Molina. He when he got the role for Doc Ock, he was so excited because he's a big fan of Spider-Man that he went and he read like a bunch of comics specifically focused on Doc Ock.
Hmm.
And that's how he kind of formed how he plays that character. And you can really tell. Also, the characters from the Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield movies
Hmm.
are just written very well, and it's
Oh,
nice. It's nice
that's
that
kind of
they're
nice.
here and they're handled in a way that makes them pretty likable. Like the lizards, like so you just want to turn people into lizards? Yes.
That
Next
sounds
stage of
familiar.
evolution. So you
That
want to turn me
sounds
into a lizard? Yes.
that
Yeah.
sounds very familiar. With this technology, you can cure cancer. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how they play the lizard, and it's great.
Okay.
Like there's such a great amount of charm in this movie. Now, obviously, the main premise is after the last Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man was framed for the death of Mysterio by
Yeah.
Mysterio,
Yeah.
and also framed for like committing mass murder. Um, and so
I don't really remember that bit, but I assume it was like
the
getting blamed for
execute
all of the things that Mysterio was doing,
he
kind of
was
thing.
blamed for the drones with the phrase "execute them all" when
Hmm.
he was saying to execute all the actions to disable the drones.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so J. Jonah Jameson, um, really gets pretty famous off of that. Going from just some random dude with a green screen in his house to having a full studio. It's kind of hilarious. But everybody in Peter's life is basically their lives are getting ruined
Hmm.
just by being associated with him. Like his friends who wanted to get into like MIT, they are denied because of the controversy.
Hmm.
As for Spider-Man and those charges, he's luckily able to get off from the charges because he has a very good lawyer.
You're spoiling the shit out of the entire movie, by the way. I should probably stop you.
Okay, this is like the first 5 minutes.
Hmm.
I
So,
But basically, I just want to get to the part in the trailer where he goes to Doctor Strange and says, "Hey, um, can you make it so that never happened? That everybody knowing that I'm Spider-Man." And then that's when things go awry, and you get to that moment in the trailer.
hmm.
But again, that's just literally within the first 10 minutes. Um, all that stuff is pretty much in the trailers.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, it's a fun setup for a movie. Hi, Slicer. I'm just talking about the new Spider-Man movie. It's very good.
Also, we can't hear you.
Yeah. If you are talking, we cannot hear you. Oh,
Hello?
hello.
Yay! Okay.
Oh, there we go. That was all right. I just unplugged it and plugged it back in. All right, whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That
basically,
resets all of your audio device and stuff, so that's how that works.
basically, I think that this is my favorite Spider-Man movie. For what it does. And for how it kind of uses the decades of films that Spider-Man has had, even though he's been rebooted, and turns it into one very compelling story.
It's an interesting way of putting it, because now that I think about it, while I very much enjoyed both of the previous Spider-Man films, I wouldn't actually say they're in my top 5 of Marvel films, I don't think.
Yeah.
Definitely top 10, but there's only like 20 or so.
And yeah, I called this the best Spider-Man movie, and I had friends who were like, "Well, what about Spider-Verse?" It's like, I love Spider-Verse, and it's a great introduction, but this movie is a culmination of decades of films. So it's a very it's very no literally.
No, technically, this is a hodgepodge of several different films. Culmination implies that this was, planned like Endgame. This is just, hey, we have all these bits and pieces from other films, let's chuck them into this one, kind of thing. It's a little more slapdash than.
It's a bit it is slapdash in that way, but it is a culmination. I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything. Like, the only thing I'm willing to talk about is the first 10 minutes, because that's well within the purview of like anybody who's watched a trailer. Because there's actual like big spoilers that like I cannot say. Yeah, no. As somebody who loved the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire and loved the movies. Didn't quite love, but liked the Amazing Spider-Man movies. They are definitely flawed.
You mean the Andrew Garfield movies?
Yeah. The Andrew Garfield movies. I don't know who the director is. It's some hobo, I guess.
Oh, fuck. This is getting so mean.
But, yeah, as somebody who liked those movies too, if you loved any of those Spider-Man movies, I think you'll definitely like this one.
It was Mark Webb. I googled it because I felt bad.
How fitting, Mark Webb.
Yeah, it's clever, except not. That's not why you choose a director. Just gonna double check that it's the same guy. Yeah, it's the same guy.
If you're going to see the movie, it has 2 end credit scenes.
Of course it does. Fucking Marvel.
The second one is basically a trailer for the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is literally cut like a trailer.
That makes sense for multiple reasons. Because you want to know who the director is for fucking Strange 2? Sam Raimi.
Same one? Oh, yeah, Sam Raimi, yes. Yes, I and, gosh, I don't know how to talk about that. Because it's technically a trailer, but it's a trailer that's not really available online. At least as far as I know.
Yeah, so don't talk about it.
All right, so I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm very excited for the next Doctor Strange movie.
I hope it's good. I hope Cumberbundabund has improved his American accent, but having seen What If, I doubt it.
Yeah, I want to talk about so much, but I just can't. I think I can safely say though that Tom Holland does a very good job in this movie.
There's a lot of debate, like, films are films, but there's a lot of debate still about who was this phrase has been ruined, the superior Spider-Man of the 3. Uh, hmm. I
I feel
honestly
like
don't know.
I feel like what this movie does for him as Spider-Man is it kind of allows him to stand on his own feet, separated from having to be propped up by other elements of the MCU.
Yeah, that was. I had an interesting conversation recently about that, like how they incorporated a mentor role for Iron Man to Spidey in this, which is not a thing that has ever happened before in the comics, to my
Um,
knowledge.
no, that did happen in the comics. Iron
Did it?
Man being a mentor, yeah, no, that was totally the relationship in the comics leading up to Civil War.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, but like a mentor to Spidey in the very early days is what I mean.
No, not like that. No, but
Yeah, like he
there has
basically
been a
taught
mentorship
Spider-Man
role.
how to be a superhero kind of thing in this universe. And that's not a thing that we've really seen from the character. Um so the person I was talking with on another Discord server was like he was disappointed that for that being such a new and novel element, it didn't really have much impact on screen, like for how Spidey fights very much.
I
And
I feel like it does in this movie though.
I hope
This
so. Like neither of us had seen the film, so we couldn't really speak to what was actually in the new film. But I was of the opinion that Tony Stark is Uncle Ben in the Marvel universe, in the
um
cinematic universe.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the purpose he serves as far as Peter's story goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we know that. I'm just gonna outline my view of it because this was a fun conversation and I want to talk it out again because it was fun. Um, we know that the Uncle Ben stuff happened. Great power comes great responsibility. Peter doesn't use his great power to stop a thief, and Uncle Ben dies. Tangentially related to that not stopping of the thief. Um, so Peter blames himself, guilt trip on himself, and that inspires him to do more with his power and stop crime because crime was the reason that Uncle Ben died. Okay, cool. So my view of it was Tony Stark takes the role of Uncle Ben in terms of Uncle Ben said it, and Tony Stark proved it. Because that's pretty
mm,
much Tony's entire character arc. What the fuck was that?
Sorry, it's a sound came out of my controller.
That was weird. Um, yeah, what was I? Tony Stark
yeah, Tony
was
Stark
like,
proved it.
yeah, by like the very beginning of his story was he had great power and it was being used for horrible things that he found out about by seeing Stark Industries fucking logo slapped on missiles used on American soldiers. Uh, so he's like, okay, that's not okay. And spends the entire first film basically trying to undo that and use his technology and his intellect and his ability to act to make the world a better place for the rest of the series of films, right up until it culminates in Endgame, where he is the only one able to act and thus has the responsibility to act. So he does.
That's that's very interesting. I didn't really ever think of it that way. Um, as in him being the Uncle Ben, so to speak.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, because I was like, the other guy's opinion was that Tony Stark doesn't really impact Spider-Man's arc in any meaningful way, and I, because of that, was how I always saw that relationship. Was that I very much disagreed with that. Like, it's not obvious on screen. Like, what this guy was asking for was like, hey, why doesn't he do a very clearly Iron Man approach to fights and stuff like that, and that's, yeah, okay, but the actual story of that, character relationship is a bit more nuanced than that. And while it would be nice to have something on screen of like, hey, maybe Spider-Man adds like a fucking repulsor thing onto his suit somewhere.
That doesn't really fit with his style, because he already had a fighting style before he met Iron Man.
Yeah, the argument was basically that being mentored by Iron Man, even though it wasn't really that hands-on as to be like fight training, it didn't really impact how Spidey fights at all.
I feel like there are some elements of Tony Stark's influence that you can feel from him in the new movie, but I think for the most part they wanted to, because in this new movie they want to, I guess, avoid tying him too much to Tony, because this is a movie where he is supposed to stand on his own 2 feet as a character, because you can't just keep saying Tony Stark's name and keep that going. So a lot of the stuff that happens in this movie exists for the Tom Holland Spider-Man to become like somebody who can go for many movies without Tony. And whereas the last Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, was focused on dealing with the after effects and the guilt and the expectations that followed Tony's death. This one is more about, okay, moving forward, where do you go? Who do you become? How do you deal with this impossible situation that is not only affecting you, it's affecting all of your friends. It's even affecting Stark Industries.
Yeah, because that was another thing I thought was interesting. There was a difference from the comics, because I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not exactly a comics aficionado, but I'm pretty sure that Peter has had multiple opportunities to better his life, from living in a dingy apartment, failing to hold down a dead-end job, and moonlighting as Spider-Man to the point where he loses said dead-end job. And he never really took them for power corrupt or something. The reasons are usually vague and sort of, paper-thin excuses for we need to keep the status quo of Spidey being kind of a down-on-his-luck superhero that does his very, very best. But here they've kind of pushed away from that a little bit, and that I feel like is an impact of Tony, because, for all of the times, like, there are a lot of Spider-Man villains that are very wealthy. There are a lot of science ones, but there are a lot of, like, Green Goblin is kind of a thing. Casts a pull over the 1%, you could say. But, like, Tony is also an example of the good that can be done with that kind of money and resources. So I think that's an interesting turn on how things have gone for the character in the MCU, is he doesn't see money as a kind of evil of the world as much as he does in the comics.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point to bring up. That you can have a lot of money and still be able to do a lot of good. It's
you don't
just
have to instantly turn into an asshole, which is usually what happens.
And it's just in the last movie, when given the opportunity to wield all of that power, he accidentally sent a drone to kill his friend. And then ended up getting all of the drones stolen, and they caused mass havoc and destruction with the Tony Stark name on it.
Yeah, that's also the downside of having greater power, is there is a lot better chance of something not going quite right. you know, unintended consequences of actions that have a grand scope.
All this to say, I really do like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. He's very much different from Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. Again, Andrew Garfield. Like I feel so bad for him because he really loves Spider-Man. Like he was like in the interviews leading up to Amazing Spider-Man, he was so excited because he was the biggest Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
And he ended up just not succeeding.
He succeeded, the films didn't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's a much more fair way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say he personally did a bad job.
Yeah,
no,
that's why there's an argument for who is the best Spider-Man, because I think it's pretty much consensus that Tobey Maguire is the best Peter Parker.
Yes.
And
Andrew is the best Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah, because he's much better at the quips, he's much better at being a smartass, and Tobey Maguire did not pull that off. Let's be honest.
No.
He was, yeah.
You're the one who's out goppy, out of your mind.
Yeah. Ooh. That feels like a line from a comic book from the 60s, which was what, Sam Raimi was pulling from. So
it's still hilarious though.
Yeah.
in its distinct way.
Yeah, and then you got Tom Holland, who he is very good as a young Peter Parker. I'm not sure I would put him quite on the level of how Tobey Maguire played Peter Parker.
It feels like he's not like an expert in either one of those roles. He's pretty good at both.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's sort of like in the middle on the scale for both sides of the character, whereas the other two excelled in one particular aspect. Like,
yeah,
we say Tobey Maguire was not good at the quips. Andrew Garfield wasn't great at being the kind of nerdy and sort of weak-willed dude that Peter Parker can tend to be.
He was a skater boy.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
He was really good at being a smug jackass when he had dyed his hair black, though.
Bully Maguire. Oh
man, executive influences are.
It's
guys, you hire your directors to make films. Maybe let them do the thing that you hired them to do, and leave them alone.
I'm going to go see the movie a second time on Thursday.
Cool.
So maybe I'll catch some things I had previously missed. But it's just it's a very good movie. I left with a smile on my face. Which, if you're leaving a Spider-Man movie and you're not feeling like you had a good time, then that's not good. It's a consistently funny movie too. With how the characters are written, how the villains just all seem to have so much fun being on screen. How how they made Electro really charming in a specific way. Like he's a fun character to be on screen. And Lizard, they call a dinosaur. It's like he can talk. I didn't know he could talk.
And he can sing.
It's funny they call him a dinosaur because it kind of goes to that meme of like, I don't want to help people, I turn them into dinosaurs, and that's Lizard but with lizards. Doctor Strange, as well, is in this movie, and he's fun.
Yeah, he is a fun character to just sort of be there and be kind of sort of the all-powerful figure that doesn't give a shit a lot of the time.
And the trailers really portray it as this is all the Doctor Strange's fault for, like, effing things up.
No, that's not how the trailers portray it.
He's doing the thing, and then Peter is like saying all the things that cause everything to go awry.
Yeah.
All I'll say is that Doctor Strange is in a lot more control than the trailer portrays him to be. Like he has a solution for everything. It's just not necessarily a solution that Peter might agree with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually the thing in the comics is he can fix everything, but one, fuck off, he's busy reading the newspaper and drinking tea, and two, well, it's a solution, but everyone will blame him for everything that goes wrong that they don't like about it.
Yeah.
It's not worth the hassle most of the
time. There's a few other cameos in the movie that I won't say, but
I wonder who
there was definitely a cameo where I would say for both of those cameos, people cheered in the audience. I clapped when I saw it.
Like actually, or are you being sarcastic?
No, like actually, this is good. It's good. They don't use the MCU overly much. They don't rely on it a lot for this story, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean it's a Spider-Man film. It's part of the universe, but it's a corner of the universe.
By the way, have you guys been watching Hawkeye?
I think I saw 2 or 3 episodes. I watched all of it a while back, so there was only that much out.
Okay, it's still going strong. It's going good. I think the next episode is going to be. It might be the last one.
How many episodes are there? 5, 6?
It's like 6.
That's not bad.
I love the characters in Hawkeye, the show. They have the best minions, henchmen of any bad guy in any movie in the MCU so far. Trust a bro.
Which is saying something for them not being in the film.
They are just consistently hilarious idiots. And that makes them charming. They're just henching it up, I appreciate
that.
Was that?
I do always appreciate that. The 2 henchmen from the Monarch's minions from Venture Brothers, some of my favorite characters.
Well, Bebop and Rocksteady, the classics.
I appreciate a good hench, and these guys are pretty good hench.
Are they henchmen?
Their whole cover thing is they have this van and it's Trust a Bro Moving Company.
Oh my god!
Like Trust a Bro. They always roll their R's because it's kind of Russian. Hey, bro! Come on, bro. We don't want to have to kill you, bro.
I would hire that moving company. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good cover. That's a good name for a moving company.
They're great. And Kate Bishop is a very the actress is doing very good with that character. Just good, compelling character. And there's other cameos and appearances in that movie, or not movie, that show Hawkeye. Because if you saw the Black Widow movie, you would know that somebody from that movie wants to go after Clint.
Sure. Should probably watch that film at some point.
Yeah. No, Black Widow isn't a terrible movie. It's okay. I enjoyed my time with it. It's just kind of sad that Black Widow is the least compelling character on screen.
Yeah. At this point, I kind of equate it to Ant-Man 2. I should probably see it for context, but...
Not really. Very skippable movie. But, Black Widow actually introduces a character that will be important, I think. So
Yeah. It introduces an important character. And like I said, well, Black Widow herself, Natasha Romanoff, is not very compelling. I mean, the rest of her family is fun to watch. So there's that.
That was always kind of a thing in the Marvel films. She herself was never particularly compelling as a character because they didn't give us much, which is kind of why people wanted a Black Widow movie to flesh her out a little bit. Oops.
It's kind of like she's kind of like the straight man to everybody else's antics. That's how I would put it.
A little bit, yeah.
So, yeah. After I'm probably being very, very kind to the new Spider-Man movie and to Hawkeye, because the last Marvel thing I saw before both of them was the Eternals.
Oh yeah.
And I felt my soul leave my body when I saw that movie. And gosh, I don't even want to remember it. That was like the biggest waste of 3 hours.
I'm really glad I saw a review of it that basically spoiled the entire movie, so I don't have to watch it.
All you need to know is they kill the good characters, and then the bad characters do nothing. Because that's the entire cast. They just this is a conflict that I cannot care about.
Also, they probably should have done a thing about Thanos, but fuck it.
Yeah, no. The rule said you can't do anything. What wasn't Thanos an Eternal? No. We can't do anything. You couldn't have just been fighting in the background, making sure that some of his legions of ships in outer space stopped from blowing everything up. No. We didn't do anything.
I would have fully accepted that if they just played some minor role and tried to stay out of the main conflict. That's fine.
Yeah. If it had been a case of like Thanos had multiple plans and they were taking care of some of the backup extra ones that the main cast didn't even know about, fine.
But would have beefed up Thanos at the same time. Like, duplicate Thanos was not especially compelling as a villain in Endgame, so,
And then they end that movie with, oh, hey, here's Thanos' brother. He's an Eternal.
And hopefully the Eternals never gets a sequel so we don't have to deal with that bullshit.
I'm just... I don't like it.
Apparently, I blocked out most of that review because I do not remember that being a thing.
That post-credit scene, Thanos' brother Star Fox comes into the film.
His name's not actually Star Fox, is it?
Is that real?
I'm not joking.
What?
Star Fox, yes. Look up the Marvel character Star Fox.
Is it spelled like the Phoenix from Harry Potter?
No.
Oh.
Oh, like PHAW. You gotcha. Okay.
Here we go. Star Fox. Yep. Fictional superhero. He was born on Titan. Yep.
The moon?
The same place that Thanos comes from, because he's Thanos' brother. Thanos' brother is Star Fox.
Okay.
And he shows up and he has like this leprechaun thing with him. And he's Jack and Daxtering it up, but badly.
Is Star Fox a play on anything? Because Thanos was a play on Thanatos.
No.
Hmm.
I mean, he has another name. He goes by Star Fox, but his other name is Eros,
Oh, that
which
makes sense. Yep.
that does play on it, yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
But he goes by Star Fox, just like Star Lord goes by Star Lord.
Well,
And
he wants to be Star.
because he's Eros, he's getting in on the new hotness in the love scene, which is furries, which is why he is calling himself a fox. This is my new headcanon.
I
Sure.
can't. I can't. That movie has like so many post credit scenes and it's like, oh, but wait, what about this? What about this? What about this? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. That thing's kind of cool. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Star Fox is kinning hard, and he is down to yiff.
Thanos, why don't we talk about your brother Star Fox and your relationship with Star Fox?
We don't like to talk about Star Fox.
As soon as I found out that there was a video game franchise called Star Fox on Earth, I knew Earth had to die.
It's the closest I've ever come to going against my views of everything being in balance. Some things
Must
just
be.
deserve to end.
Some things must die.
God damn it, Eros, or Star Fox, or whatever you're calling yourself today.
Space furry.
God damn it. This is so dumb. It's so dumb, but it's not our fault. Like, what the fuck?
Everything you've just said is probably leagues more interesting than the character itself.
The character comes in with his Scrimblow assistant who looks like a leprechaun and starts making quips. And there was like, well, he's like, I'll help you save your friends. And it's like, you mean the friends that were like kidnapped in the last 2 minutes of the movie? Yeah.
You know, in like bad sequels where they have the main characters and everyone thinks they're cool, and then producers are like, hey, we need to do a sequel of this because it was successful. And they're like, okay, we don't have any ideas for that though. We just kind of wanted it to be a one and done. Okay. One of the cool guy's brothers shows up, and he's a wacky fun time guy. He can be comic relief. Only they did that in one single film instead of, you know, it being a desperate gambit to come up with a sequel.
It's just, man. You know how typically when you're writing characters, you want them to be to have some element, especially when it's like main characters, you want some element that your audience can, or your readers can connect to, can relate to.
Yeah.
In order to create likability and want for them to want to root for that character.
Yeah, if it's not something they can directly relate to, they know someone that is like that character.
Exactly.
They have interacted with people that resemble this character in some way.
The Eternals really does like to do this thing where they don't do that.
Oh.
Where, well, these characters resemble humans, they're distinctly inhuman, and then they have a whole like discussion on like, you know, should we just let this planet die? I mean, if it dies in a new planet and more planets are born, so should we just let the planet die? And like that's the debate.
Have they learned that's not very compelling yet?
Yeah, so probably the last thing you want to do for your protagonists is have them resemble the villain of the last 20 films. Because that is some Thanos, culling the useless to useless excess for the sake of more room to grow kind of thing. That's literally his whole shtick.
And like some of the Eternals side on the group of this it's too important. This planet needs to die, so we're gonna make sure this planet dies. And then there's some Eternals that are like, no, we shouldn't. This is wrong. And then they have a little conflict. But like, I never feel like the freaking characters are actually people, or like they actually give a crap for the most part. Because I guess like the main character they focus on has like a boyfriend, and she kind of cares. But yeah.
Yeah, that's not compelling at all.
One of the Eternals straight up is just like, I'm not going to get involved in this conflict. I'm just going to leave this movie.
Is that the one that dies like immediately?
No, they just leave.
Oh,
And then they come back later, and it's like, oh well, turned out the way it did. I'm like, am I supposed to like you?
Who are you?
You left when everybody needed your help, and now you're just kind of back. It's just and it also has the problem of you have like 10 Eternals, and I don't know who most of them are. It took me a while to figure out their names.
Wasn't that a common complaint with the Eternals movie? It was let's get the band back together for 98% of the movie.
Yeah.
Let's get the band back together for the band we've never heard of.
Yeah. We see like 30 seconds of them fighting and doing cool things, and I don't even know their names at that point. And then we cut to the like many years later, and then we cut back to the past, then we cut back to the present, we cut back to the past, and we cut back to the present, and we cut back to the past. Don't you see how cool and important this band is? They were in Babylon.
It's Blues Brothers, except not a comedy. So the fact that they all have beef and are kind of pissed at the Blues Brothers doesn't really work as well, because it's not all noodle incidents, and everyone's wants to get paid because that never fucking happened, was the entire conflict with the band. And they're like, no, it'll totally work this time. And like, yeah, okay, because we're friends and it's a comedy, and that worked for a comedy. It doesn't work so much if you're trying to make it dramatic.
So, and one of the characters they kill off in that movie had me super pissed. Is Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, who in this is like this big Asian dude, like strongman style of body. He loves to cook. He's super strong. And in the comics, I had to look this up. He's known as the Forgotten One, because he has basically throughout the centuries, he has adventured as Heracles and other heroes in different mythologies. I'm like, that's a cool idea for a character. That this dude is just the nameless hero who gets different names associated with him throughout the millennia.
You could say he's the king of heroes.
Yeah, exactly, right? And that's a really cool idea for a character. But they kill him off.
Yeah. Cuz
they don't play into the cool aspect of that character at all.
What an absolute waste.
They freaking do that for all of them. I just want to say they ripped off Babylonia, by the way, for that plot line. You have a bunch of fate-themed characters named like historical figures of like, oh well, here's Gilgamesh, and here's this guy, his name is Kingo, and there's Cersei, and there's this one's Athena, I guess, and they're gonna go try to stop Tiamat.
Okay.
In the ocean.
I think what annoys me most about doing that kind of thing isn't necessarily that they're doing it poorly. It's that they can't do it better because they can't name someone else that and be like, "Oh, we got it wrong. That wasn't actually Cersei or whatever."
The Eternals came to the planet Earth to watch over and guide it, but they find out, no, wait, you're not real people. You're like robots or some weird crap, and your whole thing is to help birth a new celestial from this planet. And then the planet's going to die, and that celestial will create new planets. So it's okay.
It's really disappointing when people who don't get Eldritch stuff try and do Eldritch stuff. Like, cosmic horror is really kind of hard to do. And while I'm starting to get the idea of what they were going for with this, of like beings vast and unknowable and cool in their lack of compassion and all that War of the Worlds shtick. They're going for that and trying to tell a story from their perspective, and it doesn't really. It's not as compelling as seeing them as the vast and unknowable and unfeeling creatures that they seem to be from the human perspective, and getting glimpses of insight into what they really are is the more interesting direction than they just don't care. Just different goals.
I looked up in the comics, and like the Eternals are, in the comics they're just a bunch of beings who initially acted very separately, and they came together only later on, right? And so they all have their respective roles throughout the ages, and some only came much later. Whereas in this one, they all arrive at like, I want to say 4000 BC together on like a same mission. And so they kind of, I guess, lack in individual motivation.
Yeah. Well, supposedly they separate and find their individual motivations, except
they do separate at some point, but all Gilgamesh does, for example, is he goes live in the middle of the desert with Athena, who's kind of going nutso. And that's her character thing, is that she'll go nutso and attack them sometimes. That's it. She goes nutso. She's really strong in battle. She can create like weapons and stuff out of light.
Goddess of wisdom, everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she doesn't they just call her Athena. She's not Athena, right? That's what they did. She's like, it's just Athena, not Athena.
Considering is a prefix for not, I guess they're saying this is the real deal Athena. And that fake one that's like wise and all-knowing and shit is bullshit.
I didn't even think of that.
That's a really weird language joke. I hope that's not actually the thing, because that's awful. That is awful what I just said. Like, that's the worst possible interpretation of that plot I could possibly conceive of.
It feels like it's probably the case, though. It's a film that guzzles pretension.
Yeah.
And I saw good reviews for it, too, and I'm like, did we watch the same movie?
I think that's a good way to just put the movie in general, unearned.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
You didn't earn any of this.
Yeah. Literally, like, oh, you all have your powers from the start because you were all made with that special way. Um, there's also like Sprite, who's supposed to be like, I guess, the origin of all like fairy tales or whatever, and her whole thing is illusions.
And Soda.
And her character her character arc is Monster Kid from Invincible.
Yeah.
That's her character arc,
Oh.
except it's done poorly
What?
with no
That,
setup or time to establish it. She is a child, and she's in a child body, and she can never get older because she's an eternal.
Is she the one that wants to be human?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's
Which at the end of the movie, it's just like, oh yeah, no, when we stopped that celestial, I absorbed all that power. I can just straight up turn you human.
We just fixed that problem.
Yeah. There we go. Never. Goodbye. Never gonna see you in another movie later.
inspiration for the Fae. We could call it OG. Eldritch creatures that live by their own rules, and you better know those rules because they will absolutely use them against you. Kind of creatures like one of the original Eldritch Abomination cosmic horror kind of, well, not cosmic, but horror creatures, and I just want to be human. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the movie. You know what Cersei's power is?
Does it have anything to do with pigs?
No.
Oh.
She can turn one thing into another thing, except at first it only works on like turning like rock into sand or whatever, right? And then
that's not turning one thing into another thing. That's just
very simple transmutation.
it's not even transmutation. That's just breaking something apart. That's literally all that is. Rocks are sand when they break apart.
Yeah. And she can turn them into like water or whatever and do stuff like that. So there's an element of changing into a different thing. And then she gets the ability to change people, but she doesn't turn anybody into a pig. She doesn't use that power like
Cersei.
Yeah, she doesn't really use that power that much. And
that's a thing very common in her myths is turning people into animals.
all right, I remember they were supposed to fight these like special evil aliens or whatever and protect Earth from those, I guess. However, by the time we are in the present day, those are thought to have all been destroyed. So they're just kind of chilling, doing nothing. They weren't even doing anything during the whole Thanos situation. They just did literally nothing.
Because their intellects are vast and cool and unsympathetic. And assholes that just kind of don't give a fuck. Which is way less interesting.
I can respect a character who just, retired. But when they're immortal, that makes a little bit of a difference.
Not to mention that during this entire movie, the camera and the soundtrack is it's jacking itself off onto the movie.
Great.
Oh, so we have an artiste cinematographer going on.
Yes.
Trying to do very fancy tricks and angles and maybe a little shaky cam because that's, the current, well...
And the slow pans, and then the you can see the vista, and look at how beautiful this is amidst all of this. It's asking me to be amazed without amazing me.
So it's a very busy film that comes off as boring somehow. Cool.
It's a long movie too. So long. It's like 3 hours long. Oh yeah, I almost forgot that the one of the main guys is Icarus. Yeah.
When you're a spacefaring race, flying too close to the sun is a very legitimate concern, actually.
Hey, you want to know something, buddy? That's spoiling this whole movie anyway, because it's out and it's bad. Icarus, he ends up betraying them because he's just like, no, we have to complete our mission, and then he ends up getting his mind changed, and he ends up helping them at the end, and then he feels so bad that he flies up into the sun. Literally flies into the sun.
Yeah.
This sounds like a film written by someone who considers them an expert on mythology for having heard the myth of Icarus and Daedalus once.
Mm-hmm.
All I can think when you say something like that is, oh man, they had a DeviantArt page.
Yeah, that sort of thing. You know, where like 8 words in Japanese, but when you're writing a story, you just put them in.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like we know little bits and pieces about mythology, and these characters are supposedly based on characters from mythology, so Icarus, he was the sun one, right? Okay, we can have him fly into the sun. Cool. Gilgamesh, he was a hero, right? Was he the one that did like 12 labors? Let's just say he was. It's fine. Circe, she what did Circe? She turned things into things. Okay, yeah, she can do that. Cool. Thanks. Good looking out.
I don't have any ideas on how to do it well, but fuck it, add it in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
I'm just imagining my neighbors that just suddenly heard me shout, she turns things into things for no reason.
So the boyfriend of by the way, Star Fox, his assistant is called Pip the Troll, and is voiced by Patton Oswalt.
Oh, okay. So this is basically just another one of the brothers of that one agent from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because there were like 10 of them. I guess one of them got very, very lost.
I guess so. Also, in the post-credit scene, the boyfriend of Circe turns out to be the Marvel character known as the Black Knight, and he brings out this cursed-looking sword that looks super cool. And by the way, the boyfriend is played by Jon Snow.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm glad to see him getting work. I'm glad that shit didn't ruin everyone.
He did a good job. I would say he did a good job this movie.
Which is a shame because we'll never want to see him again because he'll inevitably be attached to this crap.
And then he's as he's like picking up the blade, a voice off screen says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And then it's Blade, the character Blade,
not played by Wesley Snipes, I presume. I don't even know whether he's still alive.
It's played by Mahershala Ali. So no,
I don't know who that is, but alright.
Yeah, he was like in Hunger Games and House of Cards. Benjamin Button.
I watched House of Cards.
He was Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Oh, wicked. Okay. I can't do a similar joke to the Patton Oswalt thing. I don't know how to connect those dots. That's a little beyond me. I'll leave that to the fanfiction writers, of which there are going to be many for the Eternals part of the MCU.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
I almost there's something I had almost forgotten, which was the black dude in the Phaistos of the Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
He's like this smart, super intelligent guy who's just like, hey, should we give mankind this technology? And I'm like, okay, so I guess we don't get credit for our own inventions.
Mm.
And then he quit because we cut back to 1945, and he's like, what have I done? And he's in Hiroshima.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck this movie. Oh, wow. Okay. Fuck this movie. Holy shit.
And by the way, he's gay. They make a big show of that.
Well, yeah. Of course, he's the bad guy, and he's gay, or at least the misguided, stupid one, or whatever.
Yeah.
They make the gay black guy responsible for the atomic bomb.
That's Disney. Okay. Disney, I know you have gotten a lot of shit for queer baiting, and it's great that you're trying to actually incorporate gay characters now, and actually letting them be gay instead of just a wink and a nod and having a dude dance with another dude, and that's your indication that he's gay. But come on, guys. Come on, it's not that hard. Just have a good, decent character that is just kind of a good person. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, central core cast. It can be, like, a supporting character that is just kind of there and a good dude that helps out, and he's gay. That's
still
it.
integral, so they can't be removed, but they don't have to be a main character. Yeah.
And he's like, screw humans. They don't deserve my gifts. This is what they do with it. It's just like, dude. And we cut to him in the present, and he's got his husband and his son, and a nice little family.
Who are presumably human.
Yeah.
But screw humans. Well, I guess screw humans. Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and you have Makari, who is she's the speedster, and she's deaf.
Yeah, those sonic booms will get you.
Yeah. She does basically nothing for most of the movie and only shows up just kind of as an afterthought towards the end.
Yeah, that's the problem with speedsters. They win if you treat them with any seriousness.
The problem. So.
But it's like here's your representation. It's just over there. Don't look at it.
So Spider-Man good, Eternals bad. We can
yes. You can see why I was just so happy.
Yeah.
To see a good MCU movie.
Yeah. I mean, Shang-Chi came between those, but I don't know whether you
I was very happy with Shang-Chi, but you saw how long that was a long discussion.
Yeah.
It's still
an hour
in me.
Talking about two films, about how one is super good and the other is shit.
The director, by the way, it's her first time directing an action movie.
Of course it is.
And it like other things were like dramas and everything, and like okay, yeah. I feel like you need a little bit of experience before you take on a big MCU film.
Buddy, this is what Disney has been doing for the past couple of years. They just give everything to no-names who have no experience. That is what they've been doing. That's what they did with Loki. They hired writers who had one writing credit, and it was for an episode of Rick and Morty.
It's not like she did win awards, but for films in a completely different genre. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Sam Raimi, and there are some things you can say about Sam Raimi. He's directed a lot of great films, but you know, a lot of them are schlock, and Spider-Man also is kind of schlock, and it was still on brand, but because it was on brand, and he knows how to do that, and he's good at it, he made good films.
I almost forgot. There's one last element to the Eternals that I have theorized. I'm not sure if it's true, but I got this feeling, right? So the director, Chloe Zhao, is Chinese. She's a Chinese filmmaker, you know.
Okay.
She went to like a boarding school in the UK when she was young. Our main character that we focus on in the movie is Cersei. She is Chinese. She is working in the UK as a museum curator. I feel like there's a bit of self-insert.
Mm.
In Cersei, the Greek
Cersei.
sorceress. Yes.
Yes. I feel like there's some self-insert elements there.
Perhaps just a touch.
Just there's some commonalities, and I'm like, I don't know.
Was it Mark Twain that said, "Write what you know"? Because I kind of have a bone to pick with Mark Twain if that's the case. Because fuck, is that kind of a really... Shakespeare didn't know shit about the Denmark royal court. He managed fine. Write things outside of your wheelhouse, you'll do okay.
If you want to write something that you don't know about, then learn.
Yeah. Well,
You don't have to take that as literally and exclusionary.
Yeah.
Or don't, you know.
Shakespeare didn't know shit about a lot of shit, but no one cares because no one cares about the details if the story's good.
Yeah. I feel relief. I've let all of that Eternal stuff just flow out, gone.
Did kind of go on eternally, but you know it had to happen.
Thanos' brother is Star Fox.
Down to Yif.
I
feel like that could be the title of the episode. Fandom Flux is down to Yif, but it's not. That's not going to happen.
Where's Peppy and Falco?
Falco flew into the sun. You talked about it.
That's stupidest scene. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm just gonna leave the Earth's atmosphere and fly directly into the sun. The dramatic music is playing.
I think that, more than most things, is just proof that the writers are bad. Like, you couldn't resist? Really?
Or they're into grand drama rather than sensible drama.
The metaphor writes itself. Literally.
That means you don't have to write. You don't have to have it happen literally.
You don't.
Icarus flew too close to the sun by accident.
Okay.
He wasn't committing suicide.
Exactly. And okay, so Sprite, like in the interview, it's like they likened her to like, oh, she's kind of like the Tinkerbell to Peter Pan, and it's like, okay, and then a character in the movie is like, hey, you're like Tinkerbell, aren't you? And I'm like, can you not? Can you just not directly tell me what you're trying to do? Can you show me? And I don't mean by just showing me somebody fly straight into the sun. It is.
Hell,
it is
maybe we've gotten the myth wrong all this time. Maybe Icarus really was just fed up of Daedalus shit. Like, okay, Dad, fine. Let's go flying on your stupid fucking wax wings. No way this can go wrong.
I have
I'm
achieved
so sick of
everything I
this.
want in life. Time to die.
I must go now. My people need me. Flies into the sun. Oh. Happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Okay, moving
Solar
on from
Suicide.
movies.
Solar Suicide is a great name for like a death metal band.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
no,
badass. I like that.
that's pretty good. It has that nice alliteration.
A lot of S's.
Gosh, so I guess I'll just finish up.
What have you been doing this week, Zero?
I didn't even talk about most of that stuff. Yeah, no, working. There was a whole trend on TikTok that like, hey, Friday, December 17th, bring your weapons to school, kids.
That's not
Shoot
a
up
real
schools.
thing. Right.
And so schools in my area started to get death threats. And I was working at a middle school that Friday as a PE teacher. And I get in the morning and it's like, yeah, no, we got death threats for today. I'm like, oh, cool. But nothing happened. It was an easy day. The kids literally ran a lap and then had an option of you can go inside and watch the animated version of The Grinch, or you can stay outside and I don't know, throw a basketball or a football around.
I would have stayed outside.
I would have stayed outside too.
Fucking sick of those movies.
It was pretty cold, but it warmed up later in the day, so people were more like, yeah, no, stay outside.
Yeah, if everyone's smart kids.
But there's some kids just like, yeah, I'll go inside. It's cold. I really don't want to be out here. I'll take that.
I'll go inside, put headphones on, and play fucking phone games. Fuck the Grinch.
I don't know how things like were in you guys' schools, but every single class had us watch those movies.
No, we didn't do that kind of thing. We just generally end of term was a fuck about day. Like they didn't really care, so they just let us do whatever. They would have a film and they would just chuck it on. I don't think it was ever a Christmas film. It was just a film.
I was very lax. I'm like, it's right before holiday break. I'm not gonna be too strict and up in your business. Like, just don't cause fights.
Yeah.
That's
a good lesson for life too. You know, still teaching something. Don't cause fights.
This day is going to be real easy if you make it easy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, in PE, everybody's more likely to not cause fights because they don't have to be in the same room with everybody else. They can move away. It's like you go pick out your friends, go play basketball. That's it.
Yeah.
If an argument breaks out, I'll join in as referee and watch and check things. I didn't even have to do that. It was just easy day.
Yeah. Babysitter day.
Though you know, I did get like nothing's like your mom coming out being like, you gotta watch out because of school shooter threats, and I'm like, thanks, Ma. Got me in the right mood to teach. Yeah. Woo. Yippee. Aside from all that, I ordered like a little shiny Umbreon doll that arrived. Makes me happy.
Oh yeah,
It's
I
like,
think you mentioned that, the blue one.
Yeah. It's I think it's one of my favorite shinies. Which Calliope Mori of Hololive EN has finally obtained her shiny Giratina after 1,600 resets.
Yeah, I saw the clip. I was actually looking at the stream at like 1,600, and I was like, I'm not going to keep watching. And it turns out like maybe a half hour later she got it.
And there's a little Umbreon.
I don't know what the exact math is on what the likelihood of a shiny Giratina is, but like
It's like 1 in 4,000 something.
Oh, so she actually didn't beat the odds in any way.
No, she did. Like,
Yeah, she got in 1680, I believe. I reset for like 4 days straight for Giratina, and I didn't get it. So, good on her.
Callie did 2 12-hour streams. One of them she watched Hamilton halfway through, so that was cool. And she did a karaoke stream, trying to do some of the songs. That was cool too.
For the other one, Sana joined her, and Sana is a Pokemon nut, the type to have like a living dex, who always completes the Pokedex in every game that she plays.
Awesome.
And it's like, oh yeah, no, I got shinies, and like Callie's like, I can't believe the power level of this person.
Also, by the way, fucking Callie's singing lessons have apparently been going really, really well because she's got some fucking pipes now. Holy shit!
Did she not before?
Or no, she was a bad singer. She's been taking singing lessons because she's a rapper. That's her thing.
Okay, gotcha. I get what you mean now.
Yeah, so she was doing The Room Where It Happens, and the fucking runs, dude, she was belting at the end of that song. Like, the first time I looked in on it, she did a few goes through of it for a few of the songs, because it was that sort of stream. And good singer now. Hot damn. Good for her. She put the fucking work in. It's great.
Yeah. Aside from all that, I completed the main story of the FF14 expansion Endwalker. I think I talked about that before. It's good. Good game. Good fantasy game. Right now it's just kind of chilling while waiting for Christmas.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah. I have been pretty... Well, I haven't been laid back. I've been fucking working my ass off. But my work is done, like I said earlier in the show. The writing is done. All I've got left is taxes. Fuck taxes, but I have to fill them in. And I did actually play a couple games this week. One of them was I started Racketeer again. Yeah, that's still fun.
It's a fun game.
Ho. Capitalism ho.
Yay.
What hero do you usually mainline when you go into the dungeons?
I mean, I started again, so fucking Louis. Because started again.
I just never used anyone else. I just felt good playing as him.
He keeps refusing to buy the good sword, asshole.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that and last night after I finished the last chapter for the year, which was a bit shorter than I would have liked, but it's fucking quitting time and it was already late. Another Discord server had been talking about Kingdoms of Amalur again, which, talking about the story of that game and how interesting it is because it really is. And I felt compelled to purchase the updated re-release they did for that game, Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning, which is a fantastic title. Yeah, so I bought that and I played that for a few hours, and that is still a decent game. As far as gameplay goes, it's a little it's very of its time, which was like 2008 2009, I think. No, 2009 2010, somewhere around that. But yeah, still I still really dig the theme of that game, which is everything in the universe works by fate, except by fate, people were trying to figure out a way to break fate, which they do by creating you a person they bring back from the dead. And you are the only person that is not bound by the threads of fate. So as you go,
we talked about this before.
Yeah, as you go around and do things, fate starts to unravel, and you start changing people's outcomes, including one dude who is literally one of the people who reads the threads of fate, so he can predict the future and tell where people are going to go and what's going to happen to them. Very particularly, he can figure out when people die.
He doesn't react well to your presence. That's for sure.
He's not great with it, and he's kind of a drunk because he predicted his own death. Like, he was this great hero dude who, he politely refused an honorary knighthood from the Fae and all this stuff, and he was super cool badass, and he wanted to expand his horizons, so he started learning how to I think it was fate weave is the term, which is the term for reading people's futures. And he did, and he read his own, and he found out that he was going to die an ignominious death at the hands of an Etin, which is like a two-headed giant, if memory serves, and he was going to be killed, smashed in the head with a club, stuck in a pot, and eaten.
Lovely.
Yeah. And he travels with you for a while. And you find that moment, like, he sees and recognizes that giant that is going to eat him. And he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, I can't help you anymore, this is going to be it for me. And you go in and you kill that thing, and he freaks the fuck out, and it's great. Like, I can't even imagine that. Like, for years, you know exactly what's going to punch your ticket, and some fucking dude just comes along and undoes all of it, and you're like, like, how the fuck do you react to that?
That fight isn't even hard, too.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a borderline tutorial?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you just stomp on this thing that was fated to kill him.
Well, it's not tutorial. It's like about 6-7 hours into the game if you've been doing stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, he didn't take how he was going to die very well. So he spent a few years being a drunk and just kind of fucking about for a while because he was depressed, like as you would be. That's a shit way to go. So if it weren't for you, like, by fate, you wouldn't be there, and he would be shit, so he would just fucking die. Like, the pathetic death, like, self-made prophecy. Like, he knew it was going to happen, so he fucked up his life, so it happened. Like, him becoming a fate weaver was also part of fate. That's just how ubiquitous it is. So, yeah, he just straight up would have died. And he doesn't take it well when he doesn't. Super great. Oh, so yeah, I'm playing that again, and hopefully I'm actually going to finish it, despite it being like a fucking 100-hour RPG or something. But that's fine. I've started those before. I'm sure eventually I'll finish Dragon Quest XI. One day.
Any day now. It's
Yep.
there.
So Vando's just sort of waiting for me to start his, solo quest, and I'll get there. Yep. Dragon Quest. Man, if Re-Reckoning has a bit of a dated combat system, Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest has a legacy battle system.
Yeah, and it's not fun. Like,
Yeah, I know.
The best way to play it is just to set it to auto and watch it go and do all that shit while you're playing it.
Yeah, I always set my party to auto, and if I had a specific move I wanted to farm or whatever, I would play the hero. But that was it.
Everything else in that game is so good, but that fucking combat system is a waste of time. Oh well. Yeah. So
That's Dragon Quest for you.
yeah, Dragon Quest. It's good in everything, but the fucking combat, like for fuck's sake, it's been close to 40 years. Maybe update things a little bit. But yeah. Holy shit, they're still using the same combat system from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It just literally struck me that, yeah, that's totally what they're doing.
I mean, I guess their improvement is technically adding the auto button. Like, that makes the game a lot more bearable.
Yeah, because like in the Super Special S edition or whatever it's called, they have the retro sections of Talkington where it's all, top-down sprites and shit, and you have to do the old battle system, and that doesn't have an auto. You have to actually do that manually. And that's worse. It's so much worse.
It's also slow. I didn't like those sections just because they were so slow.
Yeah. It's nice that so few of them actually have combat in them, and they're just a dude asking for a thing.
Yeah, they're all fetch quests.
Yeah.
Alright. It's fine.
I would rather that than combat. I'm fine with it. It's cool. Like, don't worry. Like, the running around the map looking for the shiny spots is more interesting than the combat in that game. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Like I say, doing my taxes once we're done recording, and then that's it. That's me relaxing for the rest of December and a couple days in January while I re-reckon with myself, I guess.
Dirty.
How you doing, Slicer?
Pretty good. Things are alright. I have an appointment on the 30th to get the screws taken out of my hip, so that's good. Or at least, like, an assessment on when that can be done. So that's nice.
There's a joke there. Hips screwing.
I'm sure there is, yeah. I'm more focused on 4-inch titanium screws I have in my leg, but,
Yeah.
kind of takes the sexiness out of it.
Still, the joke, it's gotta be there.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sorry.
But, so yeah, that's cool. It's nice to know that, because, like, it's noticeable now that I'm fully healed up and my flexibility is not what it was before, which was a little weird. Not super limiting, but it's noticeable. But, yeah, so that's nice. I don't know if they're going to do it on the same day or if I'm just that's an assessment. I tried to call them and be like, "Hey, do I need like a ride to and from this appointment? Am I going to not be able to drive myself back home?" And I got a confusing answer that I don't remember the specifics of now, but it didn't help. So yeah. There hasn't really been many things. I got back into Let It Die, and finally beat it. It's a free-to-play game on the PS4 marketplace. I don't think it was a launch title, but it's 5 years old now. So yeah, it wouldn't be a launch title. PS4 is older than that. But yeah, it's taken me 4 years of playing this game on and off just to beat the base game. You go into this tower and there's 40 floors. You have to climb to the top, and oh boy, is it difficult because it's janky as fuck. But yeah, that was satisfying to do. Yeah, it's an enjoyable game. It's nice. It feels accomplishing to finally manage it. And then the game's like, no, do it again, and adds 10 more floors that you need to beat all in one run. and are populated entirely by player characters who have beefed up super gear.
Lovely.
So that's, yeah. I don't think that's happening. Not unless I find some real broken weapons of my own, which is possible, certainly, but not going to happen anytime soon. I learned the hard way that some blueprints are out of circulation. So there are some weapons you just can't have anymore. They essentially took them out of the game unless you're lucky enough to get them in. There's a daily vending machine that has some unique items that cost quite a bit. Or cost straight up premium currency, so you can't buy them. You have to pay for them. Because free to play. And that, as I mentioned before, I've been rereading Forged Destiny. Almost done with that. I'm at like chapter 112 of 154 or something like that. It's been enjoyable. It's been nice. Overall, life has been pretty nice. Trying to stave off seasonal depression, so as are a lot of people, I imagine. Yeah, I think that's actually it. Like, that's been all of my free time is either reading or playing Let It Die. I already saw. We already talked about Hawkeye, which I saw that. I intend to watch The Witcher over the weekend because I have Thursday, Friday off, and then a weekend off as well.
Oh, when's the next season coming out? It's already out?
It's already out.
It's already out.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. I didn't even... That just passed me by.
Yeah,
Yep.
my mum's watching it, apparently, so that's cool.
Is she a Witcher fan or a Henry Cavill fan?
She's a television fan.
Oh, fair enough.
It's just a show, so she's, I'll watch that.
Well, fair enough.
She's enjoying it, so, that's fine.
That's good. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. We didn't record last week because no one had anything to talk about, and I overslept it a little bit again. But I told myself I was going to do more interesting things so that I could actually talk about stuff, and then it didn't happen.
All right, let's workshop this screw and hip joke, okay?
I just ain't got no screws left in me. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Just fly into the sun.
Yeah. Oh, I guess there's one thing. My game shop that I go to is putting on a New Year's event with D&D.
Hey.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but there are legendary adventures where you can have multiple tables worth of players playing at the same thing, basically.
Oh, yeah.
So there's we're going to start with a festival, and then this gigantic... Well, it's supposed to be a gigantic undead golem thing. And players go on quests for like 2 hours at a time at each table to essentially destroy or disable a body part. The legs, the arms, the chest, and the head. And
Exodia, Obliterate, and such references.
Yeah.
And if they succeed, the robot shuts down and they win, or the undead golem. But the game shop happens to have a really nice, already made Gundam model that we're going to give out as a grand prize raffle thing at the end of the night. So we're actually having them fight a Gundam instead.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Instead of a gigantic undead golem, it's just straight up a Gundam.
Yeah,
honestly,
I can't see anyone complaining about that change.
No, I don't think so. Especially since they get to win it at the end of the night.
Mm.
So I hope that goes well. I am one of the DMs, or going to be. I think I have the left arm, and then there's some screwy stuff with the head. So technically, every table can take a part of the head.
That's fun. I like that.
You destroy a section of the brain, basically. Or I guess in this would be like the supercomputer, I guess. I don't know.
Digital brain.
Yeah, that works. So yeah, I hope that goes well, and I hope we actually have enough players to do it because, like, it's New Year's. I don't know how many people are actually going to show up. I suppose the joke there is that it's a game shop and nobody has any personal lives, but social lives.
Yeah, but nobody has social lives or shouldn't really have social lives now anyway.
Yeah.
I speaking of D&D, I role played a situation so well. I wrote a scene so well. I made a player retire their character right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were the character got a chance to talk to their father, and their whole thing was the character didn't want to be part of the family business. They want to prove themselves on their own and go out into the world and explore and everything. And their dad basically came in and was like, "What are you doing? You left me and your mom. You don't listen to me. You're a spoiled brat. I need to discipline you." And just then came in and was like, "We miss you, son." And player was just like tearing up throughout this whole thing. It was like, okay, we go play a new character. He's gonna go back home to his family.
Out of, like, was the father actually concerned, or just like
The father was actually concerned, but he had to. The player character had a lot of pride, and that pride basically got broken down, and then everything the father was saying were like valid points of like, you don't know as much as you think you do, kid, and it's dangerous out there, and I built everything in this family business and everything for you. You don't need to go out there and prove yourself where I can't see you. That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
And player just retired the character that session.
That's pretty impressive.
Dang, I wasn't expecting that.
I forget. Did I mention what a friend of mine's last game was like?
You would need to elaborate on that. I was going to say yesterday. That's the word.
We bought a fiend, and we sent it to hell. It turns out our warlock had an ability that every time he uses Eldritch Blast, he can send a being to hell.
Hurl through hell.
Yeah. Turns out that's bad to do to a
with
fiend.
A fiend. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make sense. Don't they come from hell?
Came back as a dragon god. It was bad.
Yeah. I forget which is which. Like there's the hells and the abyss, the different things for different creatures. I can't remember which one the fiend is from.
Yeah.
I would have to look it up.
It was a level 20 session. It was his last time DMing for the foreseeable future. So really went all out. We fought 5 adult dragons at once and won because we're a level 20 party.
Oh.
And it turns out that was his plan, was to kill those dragons and then go to hell, collect their remains and souls, and then combine with them and become essentially 6 dragons at once in one body. And so we did that part for him, essentially, when we sent him to hell. And he came back as a god and then destroyed the world because we couldn't fight him anymore.
Oh.
Yeah,
Whoops.
so I can now say I've destroyed a universe. Whoops.
Reminds me, I love high-level D&D encounters because they get really ridiculous. Like I had a high-power party, and I threw 50 magic spellcasters at them in waves.
Nice.
And they just... even the final boss, I was just like... The first half was mainly like just them seeing if they could survive and do it, and then the latter half was kind of a victory lap. Because, but but fighting against a god in D&D is always the crazy thing.
It's usually the culmination. I mean,
Yeah.
that's usually where it goes.
So, anything else?
Nope, that's it. I believe. I want to see Spider-Man over the weekend, but I'm not sure if it's going to be open or uncrowded. I'm not sure.
I mean, we were able to get tickets to see it again on Thursday. So,
well, getting tickets and being comfortable in a theater that's already that crowded is two different things. So,
well, good check. Spider-Man is good.
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe has the time of his life.
He does that in every film he's in.
There's even a little. Of course, there's a scene where he talks to the mask as well.
Of course,
and he's playing both sides, and it's
you gotta do
doing
that.
his goblin voice.
He loves his job.
Spider-Man.
And now I've got the scene on the fucking rooftop where he just sort of, in the giant goblin armor, just sort of leans casually on a roof window. He's like, "Hey, let me rap with you for a second, Spider-Man." I need to see that film. I need to see it a lot. Okay. I won't, because, going to see my parents and I mean to compromise, yada yada, that's not going to happen before Christmas. But, I want to go see it.
it doesn't stop the desire.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's an episode.
Yeah.
That's kind of all we got.
We did Patreon last time, I think. So
Yeah, I think we're good.
ow. Okay. Audio just went.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, it was
That's fine.
yeah. So that's an episode. Last episode before Christmas that we recorded. At a guess, it's gonna come out on the 28th because I'm a fuck like that. So thanks for listening to the podcast. Bye, everybody. Oh, Discord link in the description. Patreon link in the description. Bye, everybody. There you go.
Bye.
See ya.